Well, it's a blustery fall day. The leaves are starting to go. I was thinking about, I had fun doing my Spidey box, and I'd like to do a few more, so I broke out my box joint jig. And if I can get this here, if I bring the blade up, the problem with not the jig but my saw, this is my 3/4 inch one, as you can see right here that my blade has moved over to the right a little bit, which is okay in this instance because I've got a little screw in here that adjusts the depths. And this box joint jig was, don't let me go over here, I've got it out of an old Shop Notes table saw book. I don't know if you can still get that or not, maybe just out of hoarders like me, but that's where the design comes from. And basically it's a slide and a set of fences to do each individual size of box joints you want to do. Now, this one on here, I've got it set up for 3/4 inches, and I want to build a smaller fence for it. So we'll just take that off. You can see here for lining everything up, there's a screw in there, and that pushes against here and adjusts it for your width. So I've got to make one of these for, I'm thinking a 3/8. So I got a piece of thin plywood for the base, this part, and I got a piece of thicker plywood, some 5/8 sheathing I'll use for the back part here. And I went to the scrap bin and found a piece of ash for making the little key that goes in here. You can also see there's a little sacrificial piece in here that's screwed in, so you can get a nice zero clearance on there. So I've got to make these 3 pieces, so I guess the first thing I got to do is make a key at 3/8 and then cut down my back, and that is 4x16, and the bottom part is 16 also, and it's about 2 inches. So we'll get set up and get those cut. This Ryoba for a while, and I haven't been too successful with it, but we'll give it a shot. Seeing as this cut is not all that critical, Piece. None of these are real critical dimensions. And we'll just cut them off at 16 inches. And the leftover bit will be our sacrificial piece in the middle. Boy, it's dark for you. Small pilot hole. And we'll put in our adjuster, our fine adjuster. And we'll seat that right down. Okay, we'll get this dado stack put in. I got the lights turned back on. Which also means the table saw is unplugged. Oh, I dropped it. Well, it's way down there. I'll have to retrieve that. I have no idea what my combination is for a 3/8 here, so we'll have to figure that out as we go. My wonderful Canadian Tire dado stack, which does not cut with a flat top, which is a real head scratcher for me. But, you know, it cuts slots, so. Up a little bit. And I'm guessing those those cutters are well, we'll see what happens. And we'll make sure this mid cutter is in the slots. Definitely do not want the carbide contacting anything beside it. Come on, you bugger. We'll see what that gives us. That gives us 3/8. Perfect. Oh, issues. And my blade is way over that way. I've had to deal with it because every time I line this saw up, it ends up in a different spot. And it is a son of a gun to line up. So what I've got to do here is take all of this off. Try to get it close to where it was before. I've got some little spacers in there. So I'll take those out. And hopefully that gives us the proper clearance. A new saw is on the wish list, and it's not going to be anytime soon. And here I am, paying more attention to what I'm saying than what I'm doing, and I forgot the flange. That's no good. But it is real life. Okay. Always good to have a spare around. Oh, that's hitting. Oh, man. Boy, this one's seen better days. Three-eighths. And that works. So yeah, basically what we want to do is get our plow it out for our sacrificial piece. And if anything, we're a skosh slow, which is good. So we can always take off more later, but we can't add on anymore. So we'll plow out a dado. Alright, so now what we've got to do is put a very shallow dado in this piece so it holds the key. Now it's got to be very shallow, just enough to hold the key in there. So I'm going to take off maybe that. And what it's saying to do is line this up and move it that way twice the length of your intended box joint. So I got 3/8, so this is 3/4. Let's do it on that side so the white side is up. Right in there. Okay, a little bit of assembly. Now, naturally, we don't want our blade hitting any screws. And just keep them up a little bit. A little bit of a countersink in there. Some tiny Phillips screws. Not exactly sure what size they are. Doesn't really matter. As long as we get the orientation correct. Here's our sacrificial piece. We'll take our key out. And we want to glue that in, I would think. We'll just tidy that up a touch. Get it held while it glue dries. I wonder if there's a face that fits slightly better. That's better. Okay, we've got our piece. I'm going to just sit it on there.
Drop the rain out here.
Take a Forstner bit. Let's mark the center of the holes there. There. One there. And we'll drill some 1/16 pilot holes there. Do the counter bore for the bolt heads. Not quite centered. Check to see if it fits in the There's a little bit of play in there, which is what we want for adjustment. The batteries are dying again. I don't know how well this is going to focus here. Let me see. You can see I put a mark 3/8 from the fence right here. So now we're just going to rough that out and see what happens. It looks like I'm a little bit off. So we'll loosen the carriage up a bit. Just slide that over a little bit to where it looks right. Do it a little bit here. The plans actually call for a hole in the stop so you can adjust the screw. I hope I've got you in frame there. And that looks pretty good. So we'll lock it down. We'll find a piece of scrap for a test cut here. Maybe I should try recharging my batteries first. We're going to put this on a short delay. We had quite the thunderstorm last night. Cold front moved in, brought big winds, thunder and lightning. Right now it's about 8 degrees Celsius, just over 8 degrees Celsius, just around 47 degrees Fahrenheit. And I got the beaver hut down there. Yeah, it's fall. Still got a bit of a breeze, but it's nice and sunny out. Oh look, the shop's dry. Wouldn't have been able to say that last year. Let me get some lights on here. Alright, I messed around with this a little bit last night after the batteries died. And where's the other one? If you remember, this one has a little screw in there like this. And what that does, we've got the data width is set, the pin width is set. So as that screw acts as a dead stop and moves this whole carriage back and forth, it adjusts the size of this pin in here. So that's what we're adjusting, is that size of the pin. And it took me back and forth going a few times to get it. But you can see how we adjust that pin size by moving this whole carriage back and forth. And then just go over to the next one and cut. And got a pretty decent joint. Pretty tight. Come around. Have a look at the camera there. So I didn't go quite deep enough, but I was just worried about getting the fingers the right fit for the, and that's just some old spruce that I was using for trim. So yeah, fairly nice tight joint there. Seems to work nicely. I think I can make some boxes. And it also might come in handy for drawers for shop storage. So we'll see how that works out. Alrighty, sorry I didn't get back to you for the fiddling around with it. But like I said, my batteries died. And I just didn't feel like stopping. Did I get in there close enough? There, you can see how the screw sits up against that dead stop right there. And that adjusts. So if you pull the screw out, it pushes that way. And if you put the screw in, it lets it move that way farther. And that adjusts your width of your finger so it matches up with the dado stack that you're cutting. And I'm not sure if it's perfectly 3/8 of an inch. I suppose I could check. Let me get you in camera here. Uh, 365, so maybe 10 thou out. Yeah, about 365. Oh, I'm closer to 3.7 there if I go the full width. 3.75 right on there. That's not getting into focus, is it, at all? I like these dial type calipers better. The batteries seem to last longer on them. Those digital ones are fine until the batteries go on them. Alright, so there we have it. Nice tight box joint. Holds together by itself. And yet is still loose enough to have room for glue in there. That's the box joint jig. Thanks for dropping by.